Hello, friends. This is Wendy. As you can see, Wendy is of no real significance, or at least she was not until about 3 days ago. She's a pretty middle of the road 4-star. She deals 325% damage, stuns, only one enemy, no special attack, no special defense. The leader skill is just meh. But who could have known such a meh character could have such a large impact? During the past Blitz War, somehow, someway, somebody at Scopely majorly screwed up. And instead of dropping equally meh Christmas ornaments that we can use for Christmas tokens to get various 5-star characters, they dropped this Wendy. And not only did they drop a single Wendy, they were dropping 40, 45, 50 Wendys at a time. Now, this only went on for maybe an hour during an hour after the war started, and they got on it pretty quickly. Actually, super fast for Scopely. They fixed this faster than they fixed any of their other glitches or various problems, but it was still too late. The damage was done. And it looks like the lucky few who were online when that war started and actually got in queue in the war party for those early wars were able to pick up 45, 50, 100, 150. I've heard it's numbers as high as 200, 300 Wendys. So when you have 100 of any particular character, you have to depot them because your roster fills up. So then people started to depot them, and once they started depoting them, they had a huge surplus of depot points. Maybe not a huge surplus, I think like 45 Wendys at first was worth like 20,000 depot points. But if you like start get more and more and more, you can get characters, and we're going to discuss the depot characters later. But people started buying characters or whatnot. So Scopely, they get on it, but even though it was only live for like an hour, it was an hour.
Juniper, you're okay.
Too late, and it honestly seemed like a basic coding mistake, and every shit just went crazy. It was the most exciting thing to happen in war, in my personal experience, ever. War had never been this much fun as when they were dropping Wendys. So people are selling off Wendys, refreshing the depot, hauling in as much stuff as they can. And then this is when the true atomic bomb hit. The bomb we know as forums. People went batshit on forums. It's like an absolute. I'm gonna put a link to the forum in the description, because if you haven't read it, it's at least good for a chuckle. But people went absolutely batshit crazy in forums. There's death threats. There's this. There's that. You did this wrong. I earned these characters. I did this. I did that. So Scopely, they gave us two solutions. Initially, their solution was basically to tell everybody, hey, we screwed up, sorry. Instead of dropping ornaments, we dropped Wendys. We are going to take these back. Pretty much we're gonna repossess any Wendys that you have in your roster, and if you have already sold them to the depot and got characters with these Wendys, we're going to be, repoing your depot characters. And as you can imagine, that created quite a bit of a stir. People got even madder about that, you know. And some people were happy with that course of action, and some people weren't. And then they eventually came to a conclusion that said, we're not going to do anything. Just, you know, go on with your lives. And we're going to address that too, because even that has created just as much anger, or at least equal anger, or slightly lesser anger, than the idea of going into somebody's roster and taking out stuff. Now that we have our summary, let's let this rant begin. First things first, I sympathize with the people who weren't there to get those Wendy's, especially the overseas people, European players, Asian players, and then American people who were at work, people who were just busy. They weren't there for the start of the war when these Wendy's were dropping like hotcakes. I also sympathize with the people who were there for the start of the war, but they just didn't happen to get a Wendy drop. Like, you see, it's like not fair. Like, literally, you see people getting all these depot points and getting this 4-star character, and what have they done to earn it? Nothing. Well, I can't say nothing. They showed up on war at the beginning, even though we have no idea when war is going to start. They just happened to be online at the time when war began. They had no control. They didn't know Wendy's were going to drop. They didn't know what was going to drop. They just started playing, and it just started raining Wendy's. Wendy's just started coming from the sky. So people did what anybody would do. They sold them. So, but I understand these people got supply depot points. I didn't. Like, I totally get that. And when Scopely released their initial plan to say, hey, we're going to take these back, it shouldn't have happened, we're going to take these back, you know, some people were happy, some people were pissed.
So what's the big fucking deal? What the fuck are we doing out here? I asked you, what in the fuck are we doing here? Hell, I don't know.
The one thing I kind of wanted to address is, like, people who are saying that the people who got these Wendy's exploited something, or they hacked something, or they did something wrong, they did something that was immoral. To me, that's just not fair. To me, that's just not right to say basically playing the game, because that's what we all were doing, playing the game normally and depoting characters that were filling up your roster normally was wrong or immoral. Like, no, it actually, in my eyes, it wasn't. Because, I mean, people were like, well, you knew this was a mistake. How? How did we know this was a mistake? Scopely never tells us what we're getting before it happens anyway. And, you know, it brought me back to it was a raid tournament where weapon parts were dropping, you know, polishing kits and etching acid and war token of raid 4-star weapon tokens. They just started dropping from raids. We didn't know that was gonna happen. It just started happening. So would you tell, and on that case it was intentional. Scopely did it on purpose. But I didn't hear or see anybody saying you guys spent those 4-star bonus items before you knew that you were supposed to get them, or you guys started breaking down weapons or cashing them in before Scopely gave it the okay. Like, no, nobody was mad about that. It was something that happened and people just did it. They dropped and we spent them. That's pretty much how Scopely trained us to play the game. If you get a random drop, spend it. And that's basically what happened with this war situation. We got random drops and people spent them. You know, if you didn't get the drop, you couldn't spend it. So, you know, that was my main thing that I saw that was kind of annoying and a little bit irrational that people were doing on forums. They were basically passing a moral judgment on people for playing the game how they've been trained to play the game, basically by spending Wendy's. And I like, how? Like, we've all done it. I mean, during that weapons raid tourney, everybody was spending stuff and collecting stuff because you don't have a choice whether to collect Wendy. You didn't have a choice whether to collect etching acids or gun safeties. They just go straight to your items. They go straight to your inventory. So how's it immoral for me to take something that was forced into my pocket? Pretty much. And then how's it immoral for me to depot something so I actually have space in my roster so I can actually do the roadmap and do the world map without getting that super annoying pop-up? So I did want to say, the people who did get Wendy's, they didn't do anything wrong. And the people who depoted their Wendy's, they didn't do anything wrong. Like, it wasn't their choice. Like, it was forced upon them. So people start, amassing quite a few supply depot points, and they did, once again, what they were trained to do: spend them on refills, on trainers, on characters, on upgrade items, whatever they could spend them on, they spent them on. And people refreshed their depot. Once again, like Scopely encourages us to do, the button is right there at the bottom of the supply depot. Refresh. So people were refreshing their depot and spending, refreshing their depot, spending, refreshing their depot, spending. So I get it. It is unfair. This is 100% unfair, but don't attack your fellow players.
Standing out here yelling rabble, rabble, rabble isn't going to help anything.
But we don't know what else to do, Mayor.
Don't attack the people who were just playing the game normally, because they didn't do anything. The only people that really messed up here was Scopely. So I just wanted to throw that out there, because there is a lot of anger and hatred and vitriol just going on the forums, and it's totally unfair. At least that's just how I look at it. So they throw out this initial plan: we're gonna take everything back, which even from the first time I heard it, it sounded a little sketchy, because I'm just like, how do you take it back? What if people bought weapons and broke down the weapons for parts? Are you gonna take the parts out? What if people bought trainers and use those trainers to upgrade other characters? Are you going to lower the character level? It just seemed very complicated.
What the fuck are we doing out here? I asked you, what in the fuck are we doing here? Hell, I don't know.
Just like when something's out in the open, like a virus or anything, you don't know where it's gonna go, and you can't like roll back time and take it back. I mean, I've heard rumors of rollbacks, and they say they're gonna roll back accounts, but I'm just like, I don't know. That's very, very sketchy. And this is what I want to get to. This was the major problem with going into people's roster and people's inventory and taking stuff back. It's a slippery slope, because what you end up doing is you end up devaluing your game. You end up devaluing your own product. And I mean, it's kind of like, if you can just at any random point go into our rosters, go into our inventory and take stuff back or devalue stuff, then why should we buy it at all? Why should we even go to attain them at all? Because how do we know that one day some programmer is just not going to get pissed off and delete everything that everybody has and take back everything everybody has? How do we know that you as a company is going to say, you know what, people are too powerful, let's take back their Andreas, let's take back their Negans, let's take back their Riggs, let's take back any character we personally feel is too strong, whether they spent money on it, whether they got it from the depot, You shake a lot of the confidence that your consumers have that this is a stable game and they will get to keep what's in their roster no matter how they got it, whether it was a gift, whether it was a glitch, whether they paid $100 or $1,000 to get it. When you actually show that you're willing to go take people's stuff from them, or take stuff that's in people's roster from them, it's just really shaky. And it kind of, we've seen real world applications of this, and it almost always hurts the powers that be. Like, it just happened in India, where basically India made the value of I think two of their bills worthless. So it's just like, if you had $100 bill, the Indian government said, we're not going to value this $100 bill anymore. Screw you if you don't like it, but it is what it is. So you either need to get rid of them, bring them to the bank, set them on fire, throw them in the river, but we're going to stop accepting them. It's just like, what? Really? How do you just make the value of something go to zero? Like, that's not what you were saying 2, 10, 20 years ago when you were actually handing out these bills. The value wasn't zeroed in. How can you make the value zero? And then 2, why should I trust my 20? Why should I trust my 50? Why should I trust my $1 bill? Why should I trust any dollar bill that you guys from? I might as well just start using euros or American dollars or yen or something like that, because your money can't be trusted. You can devalue it at any given time for any given reason. And that's, in the same sense, that's the same problem that Bitcoin is having. That's why nobody's buying Bitcoins or nobody's using them. People said this was the currency of the future, but the value of a Bitcoin fluctuates constantly, like all the time, and not even like 1% or 10% shifts. It's fluctuating by 50%, 70%. You know, when Bitcoins were first introduced, one Bitcoin was like the value of $150. Then like 3 months later, it was the value of 20. Then 3 months later after that, it was a value of $50. Like, no, this makes no sense. Nobody's going to use this thing if it can be revalued and devalued and brought up and down at any given time that somebody wants to, and nobody understands why. That's like, so I'm kind of glad that they ended up not taking that course of action, going into people's accounts and taking out stuff, because it really would have, in my opinion, hurt the game and hurt their credibility, and just, it'd have just been a mess. But I mean, how do you even go in there and tell what people spent their depot points on? And how do you tell one Andrea from another? So it's just like, say you got an Andrea from the depot and an Andrea that you pulled, both of them level 1, tier 1. How do you know which one's the depot, and how do you know which one's the one that they pulled or the one that they got from a crate? They look the same, you know. So earlier today, or I think last night, they're just like, never mind, we're not gonna do anything. Let us know how you feel in the comments. And this is when, like, it's like somebody had just threw a grenade, but instead of being like explosives, it was packed with like dog shit, and it just exploded. Everybody went crazy. There's like a lot of people initially like, this is great, thank you guys, Merry Christmas, I'm glad we get to keep these characters. And there's some people like, this is fucking bullshit, I can't believe this, goddamn it,
You're a piece of shit and a batterer! Ah! Ah! Shove it up your ass! Shove it up your ass!
Oh my god.
Shove it up your ass, you piece of shit!
and they just there like, this game is unfair, you're ruining the balance, blah 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 blah, I'm not playing, you don't deserve my money. Just like pure rage, death threats, this isn't that. And a lot of these complaints are 100% legitimate, but at the same time, I did kind of want to like look into them. So the first like claim that people throw out there that they're angry about is that this is going to ruin the balance of newer regions, because people are going to use those depot points to get 5-star characters. But in a newer region, your prestige has to be like 30 or 25 or something like that before you can even get the depot characters. So it'll be a while for people who did, if they did get supply depot points from Wendy, it'll be a while before they can even get a 5-star character from it, you know. So I'm not too sure how strongly that argument stands up when you kind of look at it. And then, you know, the other argument, how good are the depot characters really? There's one in the depot that I consider to be a strong character, or a character that can shift the balance of power. And as you guys know, if you've been watching my channel for any given time, it's Andrea. She's like the only one that's strong enough to really, that's strong enough and that's in the depot to really change the outcome of match, or, you know, to matter pretty much. So, you know, I can understand people being upset about a lot of people getting Andreas, but at the same time, a lot of people already have Andreas. Like, we are in almost every region that I've toured in, the region I play in, the region that you guys like reach out and show me screenshots of and all that stuff. They're already packed with Andreas. There are Andreas everywhere. She's like the most commonly used character. She's more used than the Glen that they give you for free when you first start playing this game. So, you know, if you're upset about people getting Andrea, free Andrea, I totally get it. Fine. This is true, you know. But at the same time, it's not going to really upset anything, because Andrea was already all over the place. She was already running through the streets, you know, in packs. So I don't necessarily think it's going to make the region any more difficult. And then also, the glitch only really went on for maybe an hour or less. Not that many people were able to get supply depot points. It's not like everybody got them. It was just, you know, and then this was a blitz war, so it was only 6 people in the war at a time, and then even if you were in the war, there was no guarantee that you were going to get the Wendy's. So not that many people really took advantage of it to the point where this is going to be a game-shifting, game-breaking, tectonic plate movement of a glitch. Like, no, when you look at it, maybe a couple dozen per region, maybe a couple dozen per region, and the regions are like 10,000 active users, some of them. So no, I don't really think it's going to be that significant. Well, and I think what people are the most upset about, and what anybody would be upset about, is this was unfair. It was unequal.
Dude, it's really not a crime problem. It's not a crime problem.
It is when you're not. I'm. I saw him in the shot. He's killed me. They're always right here, and then I see him and they shoot me. I don't even have a chance.
They got something, I didn't get it. And they didn't really do anything spectacular to deserve getting it, and I didn't get it. And to address that, that's kind of the nature of this game. Like, you guys have seen me pull, and if you haven't seen me pull, go for it. There's like a pool that I have in here called the boredom pool, and it was terrible.
You fucking halfback! What the fuck are you guys?
And there are some other pools where I've opened up 4 large packs and got nothing. It is terrible. And there are some people who do a single pool and get whatever they want. Like, there's a guy in my region, he according to him, he did 3 single pools. He got Conrad, he got the Sword Machine, and he got like a Revive Glenn or a Revive Abe. He did 3 single pools and got 3 of the strongest characters in the game. And then you got some people that I've seen on forums that they spent $1,500 pulling for one character and didn't get it. Is that unfair? Hell yes. There are some people who are free to play players. They just use tokens and any free coins that they can scavenge, and they got beast mode rosters. If you don't believe me, look in the comment section on any of my videos. There's always somebody saying, hey, I got her for free. I saved up some tokens, did a single pull, and she popped out. And every time I'm like, hey, I'm glad for you. Congrats. I'm glad somebody didn't have to spend stupidly like I do to get these characters. I'm glad to see that there are people actually getting them for free. So that's kind of the case. It's kind of the same thing. And, you know, if you're going to be mad at people for just getting random Wendy's, you need to be mad at the people who did a damn single pull and get Revives tunes and get Revive Rositas and get double Sword Machine and Shield Machine. You need to be mad at them too, because, hey, shit was unfair. It just happened. So that's the nature of this game. That's kind of how this game is built, on pretty much random shit happening and people benefiting from it. Now this is a little bit different because this was extremely random. Like, we all know the odds with pools, but we didn't know the odds with these Wendy's dropping. So it's a little bit different. But if you look at, to me, from my perspective, if you look at the wider picture, the big picture, that's more or less pretty much what it was, at least in my eyes. It was just a random occurrence, and some people benefited from it, just like those crazy single pools or a 10 pool where you get 2 or 3 epic characters, and some people spend $1,000 and get nothing.
Don't make me be that person! Don't! Please don't! I'm asking for something that's very simple for me! Back up! This is my bubble! Mine! Right here, right now! Please back up!
One Tyrese, or even worse, a Gator. So that's how I look at it. That's my perspective. That's my rant. You know, I get it. I understand both sides. I understand why some people are happy, jumping up for joy. Hey, I finally got Scopely finally gave me a break. And I understand why some people are so angry they're about to piss on themselves.
What kind of a moron are you? God damn it, son of a bitch!
Is that Coach Grease?
Oh, shit!
This is just...
It's because, hey, somebody got something, I didn't get something, and it's not right. But don't attack each other for it, because this, at the end of the day, it's not anybody's fault. Like, this, it's Scopely's fault. Scopely did it. So it was no hack. Like, this wasn't like the armory glitch where people actually went into airplane mode and broke down weapons and da-da-da-da-da. That's you going outside of the normal play of the game. When you, like, go into armory mode and you delete your cache and you delete all your game data, or you uninstall and reinstall the game, that's a little bit different than you just going to war and stuff getting shoved into your inventory. So that's how I feel. No matter what I say, people are gonna be pissed.
Oh my! He's never gonna stop!
If you agree with me, hip hip hooray. There's some of you guys right now fiercely typing on your keyboards. I think I can hear you like screaming at your monitor.
Mann, Nachher! Ich will eine Tournament spielen! Los! Starte das verdammte Spiel! Starte das Spiel, du Hurensohn! Ich will spielen! Was ist das denn? Oh mein Gott, was ist geschehen? Ich will Henry, ich will spielen! Schnelle Start! Jetzt geht's los! Spielen! Du Wichser! Spielen! Henry, spielen! Muss man immer so lange warten? Ich will nicht warten! Ich will jetzt auf den
And threatening to unsubscribe or tell me how much of a dumbass I am. I mean, that's your choice. That's just my opinion. I have an opinion. You have an opinion. Everybody has an opinion. I just kind of felt like the course of action that they finally decided on, just saying, hey, it was a screw up. It happened. Let's move on. I think that's probably the smarter thing and the safer thing and the easier thing for Scopely and everybody. But it's not the thing that's going to make everybody happy. And in this case, everybody can't be happy. Like, that's just not how it's going to work. It never works out like that. No matter what happens, people are going to be pissed. People were already pissed before the war started. Before Wendy ever came along, there were people who were pissed and threatening to quit and saying how unfair and screwed up this game is. And even after Wendy, the whole Wendy fiasco, there's still people upset, threatening to quit because of it. There's nothing we can do. I'm sorry. This rant has been long-winded. So, yep, that's how I feel. If you happy, congrats. If you're not, I'm sorry.
Oh my God, are you really gonna do it? Oh, that is too bad.